Hello and welcome to the most exciting upgrade you're ever going to get. Have you been experiencing surround sound feedback stops on X-Men, Iron Man, Iron Maiden, and other things? Guess what? This is going to fix you up. We're going to move you to 64-bit, but we're also going to keep 32-bit VPX and all the associated programs. That will allow you to run everything, and we're going to make it super easy for you so you can not have to be a rocket scientist here. We spent a few days figuring this out, writing a guide for you. So down in the description, you'll find a complete guide that I will be walking you through today. So let's get started. We have a 7-step process, the first of which hopefully you've already done yourself. So step 0 here is backup. Make sure you back up all your files, guys. It's not important so much that you have your tables and backglasses. I'm sure all of you have those backed up. But more importantly, all of your executables, your DLLs. It doesn't hurt to just zip everything up and throw it on a network drive. That's my recommendation, and it's good practice to keep backups of your stuff. That way, if you have any problems, you can revert. But I will tell you, we have gotten 23 people through this process and experienced 0 to maybe very little problems. I'll go through all of that, but you shouldn't be afraid. If you methodically follow me along, or you follow the document, if that's your learning style, you should be very successful with this. So after step 0, backing up all of your files, we'll move on here to step 1. Got this setup guide here. Step 1, install the latest version of VPX. So you can read this document, but I'm going to click to the second link here and grab the 10.74 beta. I want the release version, not the debug version. And I want to grab both x64 and x86. Allow those to download those to your machine, and then go find your downloads in the download folder. Now, if you use 7-zip, you won't have to do this step, but good practice, always right-click and unblock your files. This will allow any system files that Windows will block to copy over. So I'm gonna move these folders, and I'm gonna put them in my VPinball. I've created a little temp folder here for myself, and then an upgrade folder. Ignore that. I'm gonna go ahead and paste those 2 files after I've unblocked them. And per the instructions here, we're going to start with x86. So let me slim down the windows here for you. And we'll go back to the setup guide. So we're going to extract all the x86 files and rename the executable. And then we're going to do the same thing with x64. So let's just start, and I'll just extract all the files from x86 here. And now I'm going to take all of the files here and look for vpinball x.exe, and per the instructions, I'm going to rename this -x86. You can name it anything you want, whatever suits your needs here. You just need to have a different name other than Visual Pinball x.exe, and then you can go select all of your files and folders, and I'm going to cut and paste those into my Visual Pinball folder for the instructions. So here's the Visual Pinball folder. I'm going to right click, I'm going to paste, I'm going to replace these destination files. There we go. So now it tells me to rinse and repeat with the 64-bit version. So I'm going to go back over here to my temp. I'm going to go back over here to my temp upgrade. Go ahead and get rid of the x86 just so I don't confuse myself, and let's extract the 64. Once again, you get all these files. You got a vpinball x.exe. I'm going to change this again per the instructions to x64. That way I have a different executable name. Now I'm going to grab all these files minus the zip, cut and paste them into, you guessed it, Visual Pinball folder. You're going to overwrite those files there. That's right. Look at that. All right. So guess what? You have just installed Visual Pinball Upgrade. Now, the instructions tell you to delete Visual Pinball x.exe. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I have trust in this document. Now we're going to go for the latest version of VPIN MAME. Again, I know this document. You can read along. I'm going to click the second link. This is currently a beta release, working very well, no issues at all. You're looking for very specific files. You're looking for VPIN MAME SC, that's for SAM color ROM support, 3.66369, and then you want the zip file. So make sure you're grabbing the right files here. There's lots of MAME files here. You want VPIN MAME, and you want the SC version. So I'm going to grab this one, x64, and this one, x86. If you don't see these files, you may need to log into GitHub, which is free. And yeah. So now you've got 2 new zip files. I'm going to move these into my upgrade folder here. I'm going to get rid of my older zip file that I had. And again, good practice. Right click, unblock both of the zip files. Now I'm going to go back to my document. I know what I'm doing, but I'm going to start with x86 always. And I'm going to extract this here. So now it tells me that I only need to copy these specific files. So let's be very diligent here. We're going to copy VPIN MAME base.dll and setup.exe. Okay, only these files. And I'm going to paste those into VPIN MAME. Now that is in your Visual Pinball VPIN MAME folder. I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste, and it's going to say, do you want to overwrite? I'm going to say, yep. And now I'm going to go do the same thing with a slight difference for the 64-bit version. So I'm going to clean up my files here so I only have the 64-bit zip. I'm going to extract these to my folder and follow the directions. I need VPIN MAME 64.dll, base 64, and setup64.exe. And again, those are going to the VPIN MAME folder. Overwrite, yes. Your screen may look a little different. I've done this upgrade a few times, so I'm overwriting files that already exist. In your case, the 64 may not exist. So now we need to set up VPIN MAME. We're going to go into the VPIN MAME folder, and we are going to run setup.exe. This is for the 86-bit and 32-bit version of VPIN MAME. And then we're going to hit the install button and say yes. VPIN MAME installed successfully, okay. And now we're going to quit. And then we're going to rinse and repeat that for setup64.exe. Double click, allow it through, and hit the install button, followed by yes and okay. And quit. Guess what? You've just updated VPIN MAME. You ready for Freezy? Let's do it. Click the link for Freezy, and you see version 2.0. Scroll down to the bottom here. You want the zip files, so you're looking for DMD EXT version 2.0 x64.zip and x86.zip. Make sure you're grabbing those files. Allow those to download. Come on over to your downloads folder, and let's get these. Go. So you got 2 files here. I'm going to move those over again to my upgrades folder, but I'm going to clean that up first so I don't get confused. All right, I'm going to start with x86. I'm going to right click, unblock. Again, if you use 7-zip, this isn't necessary, but if you don't, I just do it anyways. It doesn't hurt. Extract here. Now I've got x86. Let's go back to our instructions. Follow the instructions here. So basically, we want to copy these 4 items. So we've got 2 directories, DMD EXT. We've got a DMD device.dll and a DMD ext.exe. Make sure you're paying attention here. You do not want the DMD device.ini file. Very important. So now you're going to copy all these files into your VPIN MAME folder. And paste. Replace. Yes. All right. So now we are going to extract and copy the 64-bit stuff. So again, back into the upgrades folder. I'm going to clean up my files so I don't get confused. And I only have x64. Let's unzip that here. And if you follow the instructions, it says for 64-bit, copy DMD device 64.dll into VPIN MAME. So in theory, this is all you need right here. FlexDMD device 64.dll. You don't need these other programs that we got earlier. And we're going to paste that in here. And we're going to hit replace. And now we're going to go to the Nailbuster wiki and follow these directions, because there's a few files that we need to manipulate. So this first section is what we've just done. And this next section, installation notes and changes, is what we need to affect here. So we're going to change the DMD device.ini file. It's sitting right here. And I'm going to open that with Notepad. And basically I want to match what Nailbuster tells me to match. So in here it says under the video section, so it's at the bottom, guys, towards the bottom. So right here it says video, if enabled equals false. All right, that's what it says. Path equals 0. All right, that's what it says. Now we have to add a new section, PinUp enabled equals true. Now, in my case, this is already here. In your case, this may not be here. If it isn't, just copy it from here, paste it in underneath the video section, save the file, and close. Now we have another file, dmddevice.log.config, right here. I'm going to right click, I'm going to open it with Notepad. And again, I've done this a few times, so I know it's at the bottom. But basically, you're going to see this rules section towards the bottom with a logger name. By default, it probably says min level equals trace. You're going to change that to match what Nailbuster says, which is the word warn right here. So again, I've already changed this, but your file may look different. Make sure it matches what you see here. Save and close the file. And now we're going to go to the next file, dmd.ext.log.config. So that's right here. Again, open with Notepad. And you can scroll down to the bottom. I'll help you cheat. And again, you just want to make sure it looks like this section here. Logger name, min level warn. You might see something different when you're opening this file. Just change it to warn. Write to console/rules. There we go. That file looks good. And one last file, FlexDMD log.config. We're going to do the same thing. Open that with Notepad. Scroll down to the end, and you'll see this rules section. Now this, I have just overwritten my file, so you actually get to see me change one. So I'm just matching what Nailbuster has here on the right. Rules, logger name equals star. By the way, small note, there is a typo in the last file. There's an extra exclamation point. That does not need to be in your file. You just want one. I will send a note to Nailbuster on that. But after you've made those changes, save the file, and that's it. You can close up the Nailbuster, and hey, you finished Freezy. Congratulations. Are you ready for FlexDMD? So we're going to scroll down to this second link, and we're recommending at this time that you use FlexDMD 1.9. Now this is a beta, and it will require that you have a login for GitHub to get it, but I highly encourage that. You're going to scroll down to the bottom, click on FlexDMD, and you will get a download called FlexDMD.zip. I'm going to go over here and wait and see when it downloads. There it is. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw it in my upgrade folder, clean up my previous work, and start fresh. You know what's next? Were you following along? Right click, unblock the file, okay, and then extract that file here. Extract all the files into VPIN MAME folder. All right, any existing. Be careful to consider changes made to FlexDMD log in the last step above, which we just did. So, again, we're going to be overwriting this file. So what he's saying here is you want to make sure you open this file and rinse and repeat that step you just did at the bottom. So in my case, I'm going to change this to warn. In theory, I just wouldn't need to take this file, but I don't know what else is missing, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then we're going to copy all of the files here, minus the zip file that I brought over for the instructions, VPIN MAME, and copy them all over. So we're going to take them and put them into VPIN MAME. Right-click, paste, and overwrite the existing files Now we're going to run a program called FlexDMD UI.exe. So just double click this and you get this little window here. It's pretty cool. It'll look different than mine because again, I've already done this. You want to select install folder and basically point it to your VPIN MAME. It may already be pointed, just ensure it is, and you have a green checkbox here on these items. Then you'll probably have red checkboxes here. You're going to hit the register button. You can allow Windows to do that. And once it comes back, it's going to say FlexDMD is registered and ready to run. Then you're going to do the same thing for UltraDMD. And it's going to come back and say FlexDMD is registered to be used as an UltraDMD replacement. So now that you've done those two, you're done. You can close that window. Guess what? You've just installed FlexDMD. You're on step 5, the B2S server. We just got an update to that just a few days ago. This release is very thorough, and we found out something really cool last night here. You won't need the 64-bit version because the secret of this is this x86 release is actually working in a 64-bit capacity and in a 32-bit capacity. So again, right-click, download this file, unblock it. You want only x86. Only x86 this time, guys. So now I'm going to go back to my VPinball temp folder upgrades, and I'm going to paste this in here, clean up my old one, go back to the dock for instructions. So we're going to create a new folder. This is important. In the old world, everything sat in VPinball, Visual Pinball, and then under your tables folder, you had all your B2S files and other things. We are going to create a new folder. So create a new folder in your tables directory. Actually, I take that back. The recommendation is to put that in our VPIN MAME folder. So, let's do that. So under VPIN MAME, we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this B2S Backglass server. Just like that. And now you've got a folder in VPIN MAME called B2S Backglass server per this note right here. Now we're going to take those files we just got and extract them. Make sure I unblock the file. I think I did. Yep. Extract here. And we're going to take all of these files minus the zip file. I don't need that. Let's see. Let's just make sure. Extract the files into this new folder. So cut or extract, however you want to do it. And right here in this new folder, Backglass, B2S Backglass server. And now the instructions tell us to go into this new folder and click on B2S Backglass server register app.exe. You're going to double click that. When this comes up, you're going to say yes. It's going to come back and say everything is fine and it's registered. You'll hit OK. And on this second one, context menu, hit yes. You have just registered B2S server 2.0. Now you're going to go into your Visual Pinball table folder, and this is where all your old stuff used to sit. So under tables, you're looking for screenres.txt, and you're also going to look for something else. Let's start with screenres.txt. So that is right here. This sets all your resolutions for your screens that you might have in a cabinet. You might have more numbers than this, but for me, I just have that for the time being. So I'm going to go in, and it tells me to take the screen res from the tables folder and paste it into this new folder. Boom, there it is. And now it says we can delete the screenres.txt from our old tables folder, so we can delete this one. There, it's gone. Now we're going to create some new folders. We're going to do it in VPIN MAME, okay? And we're going to do it in this folder we just created. And we're going to create two folders. These folders will allow DOF to work. The first folder is called plugins. And the second folder is called Plugins 64. Okay, now that you have those folders, you're going to copy and paste the contents of your current plugins folder, which will be sitting in normally your tables directory. And we're going to copy all this in. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I go back over to my tables folder, I will see a plugins folder. Now, it's not here for me because I moved mine last night. But yours will be here. You'll have plugins folder. You're going to just copy that over. For me, I've moved it. So one moment. For me, it's here. And it has some stuff in here. It has a shortcut and a little file with some DLLs. But basically, I want to take this plugins folder in its entirety, the contents of it, not the folder. And I want to copy and paste that into the new folder that I created here. So under plugins, right click. So you have just installed B2S server and you're configured and ready to go. There's one last step. You can delete the plugins folder from your tables, the old plugins, not the new one, not the VPIN MAME, Backglass plugins, but the old one. Under tables, you'll have that plugins that you copied earlier. You can now remove that. You can also remove any B2S files you have. You can see them here on the right in this, but you want to make sure you do not delete B2S table settings.xml. It is very important you keep that file. All other files can be removed and cleaned up related to the B2S setup, Backglass server, all these files here on the right. All right. Last step as far as software goes, we do have Popper, but now if you have DOF, let's go through that real quick. So considering you already have DOF set up, it's a really good idea. For me, DOF is just in my root. So I have a direct output folder. I don't have DOF on my desktop, so you won't see anything here. On your machine, you'll probably have a direct output folder, and it will have some stuff there. It is a good idea to rename that folder. So in my case, I don't have direct output here, but I'm going to go ahead and follow the instructions with you so you can do this. Direct output is the default folder name. We're recommending here that you actually rename this folder x86 with a dash like this. Now, when you do that, you're going to break the target for our Backglass stuff. So we're going to need to update the target path for our folder. So the way to do that is to go back under VPIN MAME, where we were, and under VPIN MAME, where we created that Backglass server, double click in there and go into plugins. And you see this direct output? I'm going to right click and I'm going to change that target right here to be dash x86. And then I'm going to hit OK. And it should redirect that output so it goes to the new directory name instead of direct output, which you just saw. It's just a shortcut. It tells the system where to go. And again, you should see files here. Probably looks something like this. I don't, because I don't have DOF on this desktop machine. So from here, you want to make sure that DOF is still working after you do this. So open up 32-bit VPX and make sure your DOF is working. And here's how you do that. Go into your Visual Pinball folder, and you're going to open x86, or whatever your equivalent is. I just opened the wrong one. And essentially open a table that you've played in the past that you know works with DOF. And now that you've upgraded VPX and VPIN MAME and so many other components, before we go the next step, you want to open a table. You want to make sure you're in 32. You can go to help and about if you're not sure. I am sure. And you're going to load up the table and just make sure that it plays and your flippers and your slings and everything's good. So let's just briefly fire it up.
Lawmaster Computer online. Welcome aboard.
Now, again, I don't have it on my desktop. I got it. It's working. I got DOF. Yay. I pretend really well. So after you're sure DOF is working in 32-bit, you want to exit out of the table. close VPX and follow along with the instructions. And basically you're gonna download the X64 bit of DOF, which is freshly released. It's a Google Drive, so give it a second. It'll take a moment to download. Be patient and it will download. And there we go. DOF 64. So now I'm gonna go back into my downloads. I've got a DOF folder. And if you were paying attention, you know what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna go into my temp upgrade. I'm gonna paste this in here. I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna unblock the file. And just follow the directions. So you're gonna unzip, unblock, extract here, and place the contents into a new folder. So now we're gonna take this, not the folder itself, but all the files in the folder, and we are going to create a new folder. Now I've already done this, okay? Go where your direct output is, the one you just renamed x86, create a new folder, and let's call it direct output x64. And in there, I'm gonna paste all these files, which again, yours will be blank, I'm overwriting. And put them all into the x64 directory. And now you're gonna go into your plugins area. So back where we just created all that under VPIN MAME, we did the Backglass B2S server, and we had the plugins area here. You're gonna copy, you wanna, under Backglass server plugins 64, you're going to either create a shortcut or copy the one you have, and this is under x64, and this one you want to point to go to the new x64 directory, so that the target, when you click it, you want to change the target to basically reach that directory. So Control V, there we go, apply, okay, and now when I click this shortcut in plugins 64, it should go to direct output 64. Hey, look at that, it did. All right, so now we have changed the target. There, copy the direct output shortcut, paste it into, okay, so yeah, I missed a step. I went a little quick on you. So you're gonna go into your Backglass server, you're gonna go into your plugins, and you're gonna copy this shortcut, you're gonna paste it into that plugin 64, and then you're gonna do what I just showed you. Edit the target, click OK, and then make sure the target goes to x64. Okay? And now you're gonna run a table in VPX 64-bit, and we're gonna check a few things here. Now I can't visually show this, so you'll have to just mentally follow along, but let's open Visual Pinball 64-bit, and you've got a 64-bit executable here. You can check to make sure you're not crazy, help about, and you'll see right here it says 64-bit, and I'm running 10.7.3. This is actually a beta, which is 10.7.4, but I'm gonna go ahead and open the same table I just opened in the 32-bit, and essentially just right-click on the Backglass and go through this process here that it says save settings, and well, I'll walk you through it, but hit play, load the table up, then you want to move to your Backglass, hover your mouse over the Backglass, and right-click. You will then get a menu for B2S, and towards the lower section, you'll see an area that says Activate Plugins. The box should be checked. If it's not, check it. And then you're going to save settings, and you're going to exit VPX. And exit meaning close the program entirely, and now reopen the program, rerun your table one more time, and right-click on the Backglass again. And what you're looking for is there is an active or plugin setting box to the right of that checkbox. You want to make sure that's not grayed out. And then you're going to click on it, and you should get a dialog box saying direct output plugin is active and there's no exceptions. So once you get that, we're going to copy some files from your existing DOF config over. And then after all that, we're going to copy our existing config files. Now, for you, that'll be in your x86, and you will have a config directory, and you'll have some files right here. You're going to copy that config folder from the x86 and you're gonna paste it into your x64. Again, I can't show that to you because I don't have DOF, but essentially you're gonna take all the configuration files you set up in x86 and not move them, but copy them as a duplicate into x64. Additionally, in the next step here, if you use addressable LEDs or what are called MX LEDs, then you're gonna wanna also update the paths in these files here to point to your new x64 DOF. Now, after you've copied over all your config files, we're gonna go and register the direct output object. So go into your x86 DOF directory and you're going to run register direct output com object.exe and then just hit OK. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that here in 64-bit, but you should be doing this in the x86-bit. I just want to show you what it looks like, but I can't because you're not supposed to do this in 64-bit. So let me know if you run into any problems here when you click that file, but I've not experienced any problems on my cabinet with this last part. You just register x86, do not register x64. You should get an error anyways, even if you try. And then you're just gonna open up Visual Pinball 64-bit and just make sure you've got DOF working. Pretty simple. Now we need to determine how you're gonna manage your games. Now, as of this writing right now, pop packs with ROMs do not appear to work with 64-bit properly. So we've developed a way for you to easily manage that. So if you're running one of the newer tables, for instance, Big Bang Bar requires 64-bit. That is the only table that requires it, but I can tell you from experience, Iron Man, X-Men, Iron Maiden, these tables will all run better in 64-bit, and I personally would recommend you run those tables in 64-bit. So what I have described in this document, and I will now articulate to you, is a way to keep Popper running 32-bit by default and 64-bit as needed. You can do this however you want. If you want to go backwards, you should be able to do that with the knowledge I'm about to give you. Meaning, if you want to run 64-bit from Popper by default, and then just alt-launch 32-bit pup tables that aren't working in 64, you can do it just the opposite of what I'm about to show you. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go back into our Visual Pinball folder. And earlier I had you name those two files from the zips, x64 and x86. This is where you're going to determine what you want to do by default. For me, for you right now, I'm going to run 32-bit by default. So all I'm going to do is change the name of my x86.exe executable back to Visual Pinball X.exe. This will allow Popper to, by default, use the 32-bit system because Popper will always use vpinball X.exe. And now we're going to tell Popper to manage specific tables in a different way. So you're going to go into your vpinball PinUp system and you're going to run PinUp menu setup.exe. You're going to go to the game manager, and then up here at the top there's some tabs. I'm going to make this really easy on you. Click lookups, and then down here you're going to just add the name of your executable. So for me, I'm going to alt launch 64-bit. So I'm going to do Visual Pinball X-x64.exe, same as the file name, and I'm going to hit save. Now when I go back to the All Games tab and I select something like Big Bang Bar, which requires 64-bit, I've got all this stuff over here. Look down here in this section, Alt Launcher. I have a pull down that didn't exist, and that's because I put that in the lists lookup. So now I can just select Visual Pinball X64, hit save, close, and guess what? Now when I launch Big Bang Bar, that version of Big Bang Bar, it will launch in 64-bit, and I don't have to do anything else. And all of my regular tables with pups will run in 32-bit until I go into PinUp Popper and I say, hey PinUp Popper, I don't want Simpsons Pinball Party to launch with the default. I want it to launch with x64. So hopefully that gives you some insight. There's a lot of ways you can manage your front end, but this should give most users a hassle-free way of handling their system. If you find a better way, please leave a note in the comments. If this helped you, I would appreciate a like on the video. Head over to vpinhub.com. We have a lot of resources for you and continue to build that site up. I would like to thank Fluffhead and Apophis from VPIN Workshop for really writing up an extensive guide and helping all of us to follow a paper method. I'd also like to thank Primetime 5K for being a guinea pig, and 8-Bit also. And a huge shout out to Jar for all the assistance with the B2S server this week. It's been a journey, guys, but I think we finally did it. And after today, you're ready to run Big Bang Bar. Now you just gotta wait for it to come out. I hope this helped. Any trouble you run into, just come on into our Discord or leave a note in the comments. We will do our best to help you. Thanks. Have a great day.